When I decided to step down or retire, whatever you want to call it, and become athletic director here, we had basically a few criteria that we were looking for in the next head football coach here at NEO. Number one, we wanted to find a coach out there that had junior college coaching experience and understood the junior college athlete, understood what it took to win at this level. We're also looking for someone that had success in the Southwest Junior College Football Conference, how to win in this conference and how to be successful in that area. But also I was looking for someone that I felt would bring stability to the program. Ever since 2003, we've had a new head coach about every 2 or 3 years, and I think we needed to try to get someone that we felt like would bring some stability that would be here for a while. And, of course, dear to me is also we're looking for someone that understood the NEO tradition. NEO is different. NEO has probably the best tradition of any junior college program in the nation, not only just winning, but all the things we do, from singing the fight song to the box lunches to all the things that we do. And we wanted someone that understood that NEO tradition. And also, probably most important of all, we wanted someone that could bring great character and great leadership to this program, because we all know that character and class and leadership is probably the most important thing. So basically, I feel very confident, and I'm very excited that we found the person that meets all these criteria. So I'd like to introduce to you the new head football coach at Northeastern Oklahoma College, Sherrod Poteet.
Well, thank you all. It's just a joy. I am thrilled to death to be here today. When this opportunity came along, I'm ecstatic. I'm still speechless. It's good to be back here in Miami. This place right here, looking out, so many memories. Brings back so many just wonderful memories, and also with Coach Patterson as our head coach then, not so good of memories, but they are memories, and we remember those. Coach Patterson, as he steps aside, as he says, and retire, I don't think all of us that know him, he's never going to be retired. He is going to be involved as much as he possibly can, and that's the way we want it here. When you think of NEO, you think of the tradition, you think of all the great players and just people that's come through here. It's great to have a Hall of Fame athletic director, former coach, that we can lean on when we need to. So it's an honor, it's a privilege for me to come in here and to work side by side with Coach Patterson and this staff. It's a great staff that they've put together that I get to come in and join, and I can't wait to get the chance to know these guys. They've had a great run this year. They've turned things around, turned the ship around. It's headed in the right direction. And there's so much energy and so much good things going on at this campus right now. I mean, every sport, it seems to be just, doing well. From going back to women's basketball last year in the national tournament. Baseball a couple years back, being in the World Series. Softball, volleyball this fall was, in the national tournament again. And football, playing for championships again and in bowl games. So it's a great time to come back and be a Norseman again. And I'm really excited about it. Can't wait to get my family up here with me. And I think they've left here, as he steps aside, left it with a great foundation built. This coaching staff and Coach Patterson have put a great foundation in, and I can't wait to come in and kind of build upon that. And he had mentioned, a couple of coaches, couple of years, new coach, couple of years, new coach. So if we can get Dr. Hell in here and get about a 15-year contract done so we can, keep that from happening, then I'll be greatly appreciative of that. But I'm here. I got 2 sons, 8 and 5-year-old, and my wife, and this is a great place for us to raise our boys, and looking forward to that. She's a teacher in education as well, and, last week she got to see Miami. She's heard me talk about it a lot, but she finally got to take it in with her eyes as well last week, and so, she's already, on the internet looking around for places for us to live and settle down and to raise our boys in Miami. I'm just, once again, thrilled, excited to be here. I want this to be our program. Speaking of football, it's not mine. It needs to be ours. It needs to be ours as a coaching staff. It needs to be ours as faculty, as administration, as anybody that can have a hand in it. It needs to be the communities. This is our program. This is NEO football. So as we go in through the next coming days and we go into battle, as we've always said, as the dragon head's raised on the battleship, it's time for all of us to take our place at the oar, and we all row together. Row, Norse, row. Any questions that I may be able to address at this time? Four-part question right here? Every time I show up at Miami, this guy's here. He always comes in second dressed best at the place. So,
Coach, when did you first hear that there was going to be the opening here, and what was your reaction at that moment?
Well, as the season was winding down, going into I guess the bowl prep and that sort of thing, the kind of rumors get out and that sort of thing, and I had the opportunity to talk to Coach Patterson at that time, and as I guess the transition going in from the season into the bowl week and going into that, so I'm in. Yes, if there's a time, a place, you tell me where to be, I'll be there to meet with you, meet with Dr. Hill, meet with anybody I need to meet with, because that's a special place, and it's just the tradition at NEO. Coach Patterson talked about singing the fight song, talked about he calls them box lunches, the box of nasties that we called them. But, all those things, 15 years later, you still remember those things. And that's the great thing is it's been that long, but there's always something you can pick up. I mean, the stadium sitting right out here, the 6 a.m.s that Coach had us running those things. I mean, I've got the scars on the shins to prove that I did it. And so, just memory after memory.
Coach, you mentioned this past season was a tremendous success here at NEO. How will you define success next year and in the years to follow immediately?
Well, obviously I'm going to be judged. Our staff will be judged by wins and losses. I think ultimately, we need to be the success we have is our young men that come through this program, how they turn out. We're getting to be with those young men and kind of as they enter adulthood. As they step out of mom and dad's home and into the real life, and so we're going to try to create a foundation for them that will make them succeed in life. Because these guys are one day are going to be fathers and husbands and businessmen, and we want them to be successful. So hopefully, getting a great foundation set at NEO will spin them forward and into the future to be great leaders of tomorrow. But I want to talk to our guys coming in as, hey, the freshmen that's coming back, the coaching staff that's back. You tasted the conference championship game. You tasted being in a bowl game. There's some unfinished business. There's not too many teams that when they finish the year's over with, that they won their last game. There's not that many teams, and that's our deal. We want to win our last game.
You mentioned the coaching staff. Have you met with all of them? What are your impressions of them? Any significant changes?
It's been a pretty fast last several days, and over the next couple days, the number one priority is to sit down and to meet with the coaching staff, meet with them each individually, and I want to have the opportunity to get to know them, and they need to get to know me, and for us to start working together and putting this thing together that we can build upon what has happened this year and propel us into the future.
It's pretty fair to say that you're an offensive-oriented coach, given your background on quarterbacks and offensive coordinator and assistantships that you've had. What kind of changes do you foresee coming on the offensive side of the ball here and maybe even on the defensive side, if you would?
Just from obviously watching and playing against NEO this year, I think we were very similar in what we did. We were kind of a spread offense that ran the football and then took our shots, down the field. I don't think there will be much change at all. I really don't. Obviously, you always kind of tweak from year to year your offense depending on the players you have. I mean, we can sit here and say, hey, we're going to do this, but if we don't have the personnel to make us successful doing that, then we have to change and we'll have to adjust. But I think to answer your question, we're going to be very similar from the offense that you saw out on the field this season. Defensively, we're going to be attacking. We're going to try to create turnovers. We're not going to just sit back and just let the offense go out there and do what they will. We're going to put pressure on the quarterback. And I think that's in this league and in all of football, offensively, we want to protect the quarterback. Defensively, we want to put pressure and rush the quarterback. So we're going to put an emphasis on creating turnovers. we've got to put pressure, whether it's different blitz packages and those type of things. But we're going to have to be attacking defense. We're going to get after them.
One of the challenges of being an Oklahoma school in this conference is the recruitment process. How would you describe your background and your approach to recruitment?
Well, I don't think it's a challenge. I think it's an honor to recruit Oklahoma kids. I'm excited about it. I get to go back and recruit Oklahoma kids. Just whenever I was here, it was Oklahoma versus Texas every week, and that was one of the things that we kind of pulled together on and drawn to. And so, yes, I'm ready to get out. Obviously, I've had the opportunity to know a lot of the coaches in the state, just from my high school here, playing at NEO, and so I've got a lot of relationships built. I'm going to rely on this coaching staff, especially in the near future. They've been out busting their tail ends, spending hours and hours on the road of hunting these kids. So, and from everything feedback I get, they've done an outstanding job of hitting the state right now. So we're going to win with Oklahoma kids, and we'll go out and we'll add a couple difference makers on the out-of-state that we're allowed to get by the conference rules. But heart and soul, this team will be Oklahoma.
Coach, I have a question from a public relations standpoint. Last year there were some off-field issues with some of the players, and I'm curious how you will be handling the issue of character with your players and the importance of the image that they produce for the college.
Well, I think it goes back to this being our program. It's the communities, it's everybody's. It's not just ours. And from that, we want to put our best foot forward. So we are going to, and the development of young men, we are going to try to establish, a way to act, a protocol. And obviously when is huge. That goes back into our recruiting process, and that goes into what we demand when they step on this campus. But when a young man, when they mess up, they're each dealt with, I think, in their own way. I have two different boys, and they're the opposite, and they react different to different discipline. And I think everybody's that way. I don't think you have a blanket discipline for each person. I think you deal with them, and that's going to take me getting to know these men over this next semester. I have got to get to know them on a personal level, and so I will know how to maybe touch them, change, make a difference in their lives. But we're going to put the program first, and this is, in this community, we want to be well respected as it is now, and we want to continue that, and so we will build upon it. We will, handle it on a each need basis.
Who's helped to shape you as a coach? I know you talk fondly of the time with Coach Patterson, but high school coaches.
I've been very blessed as as at Union High School. I was coached by Bill Blankenship and his just tremendous staff of guys that have went on from that staff, and are head coaches now in the state, with Wade Stanley up at Norman North that was in the 6A playoff national championship game, and Kirk Frederick and Coach Spav at Broken Arrow, and the list just goes on and on and on. And another coach that I had was Mark Garner. Coach Patterson coached at Altmogie, and he coached me, and it's and I had a great foundation when I grew up in Webbers Falls, Oklahoma, with Jerry Ward and Charles Coleman of just coaches. Besides my parents, the next greatest influence of my life is coaches, and I think that's a great responsibility that we have. And as I go on from high school on into NEO, some of these same beliefs and some things that I do now was things that I watched Coach Patterson make us do, and that we'll still continue to this day. And I go on, and I was coached by some great people at Southern Illinois, and I just you take bits and pieces from those guys, and then over the 11 years of coaching football, you just kind of take something from each guy that you're around, and okay, I know to do that, or I know not to do that. And it's a large group of people that I respect, that I think a lot of, and that not only are they coaches, but they're dear friends of mine, and that I can lean on and ask advice at any time.
When the parents said you guys were moving from Weber to Tulsa, what went through your mind?
Well, it was kind of my fault. I had grew up in Webbers Falls. Parents grew up there. Family was from there. A class of about 30. And I went to some football camps in Union up at Tulsa. Mike and Kel Gundy actually had quarterback and receiving camps in the summer. And, you know, and about that time, the quarterback of throwing the football kind of got popular. And Justin Fuente, you know, was, you know, the king of throwing the football in Oklahoma. And played at Union. So in Tulsa, you know, your local news channels, it's just the things you saw. And I went to football camp, and I told my dad after camp, I can play with these people. I can play with these guys. Yeah, right, he said. And so went back the next year and went to the camp again. And I said, seriously, I can play here. And the next thing you know, we've packed up. We've bought a house in the district. And my dad had to commute. So, you know, he had to drive from, because he had a job there at Weber's Falls in education, so he had to drive back and forth. But it was just an opportunity. I went from a class of 30 to a class of 750. It was a big difference.
Were you playing? They were playing 8-man at the time.
They were switching over as I left.
That's what I was thinking.
So, Sheriff, you were recruited in high school, junior college, and college there.
I was recruited out of Union to college. Yes.
Union doesn't recruit.
They do not. They do not recruit. I just happened to really enjoy that area, and we bought a house in that district. Got the receipt for that one to prove it.
I think I asked you about this last year. What went through your mind standing on the visitors' sideline, having to go to the visitors' dressing room and stuff like that?
Well, the best part about it is the sun was at my back. But no, it was very odd to be on the wrong side of that field. And, you know, as I walk across and go across, it was, you know, a lot of memories out here on this field. But it was definitely odd to be on the wrong side of the field whenever we played against NEO. And now, back here where we had dressed at in the visitors' locker room was an old weight room that we spent a lot of time in and things. So, you know, it was good to go back in there and see that place again. But what facilities that we have here now. I mean, this place right here is awesome. This is the best by far in our conference, in our league. It is. No question. And it's only going to get better.
Coach, you mentioned playing with Coach Patterson and winning the conference championship. Don't worry, this is an easy question. We had a chance to meet last week. You did mention something that Rich and I have discussed a little bit. You ran the banks of Tar Creek quite a bit, but you made one comment about you had to get bark off a tree. What is that? What does that mean?
I think when Coach Patterson got it fed up with you and didn't want you around no more, he would find the furthest tree away from where he was standing and said, I want a piece of bark. Now, the kickers got most of that because Coach Patterson, how many times, and he may have said it this year to the staff that's still here, all you do is kick. How can you not put it through there? All practice long, all you do is kick. So, I've got lots of stories on Coach Patterson, but we can save those for another time and place.
Thanks for clarifying that. We've been trying to figure that out for a week. What does that actually mean?
Don can tell you that part was Don's fault because he was always on me about kickers.
Anyone else?
Let's give Jared a hand. Nice job.
Thank you. Now, I'm not going to remember all these names that I met today and faces, but please see me on campus. Stop. I know, make it awkward. Come introduce yourself again to me because eventually I will get it down because I do want to know each and every one of you and as we build this relationship into the future. But please stop me, tell me again and again until I say, hey, I got it. Please do.